Welcome back. This is video number 4. Today we'll be talking about two movements. First, the lateral squat, and then second is the drop squat. The lateral squat is a lower body movement, and its primary purpose is to work on hip mobilization as well as injury prevention in a unilateral fashion. The muscle groups used is the gluteus maximus, quadriceps muscles, hamstrings, as well as the abductors and adductors. So, to perform the lateral squat, you're going to start with toes pointed forward with a wide base, feet outside of shoulders. So, right now we'll talk about it with body weight, and then we'll show you with a few different variations. So, we'll want to keep a nice upright position, nice neutral spine, and we'll initiate the movement by pushing the hips directly behind and then leaning over the foot. Good. Go ahead and show us a few more times. And one more. Alright, and then again from the side. So we'll switch that way since you're going to be using that right leg. It's important to think about having the chest be over the knee and foot. This gives you a strong, stable position. Can you show us one that we don't want with the knee coming far forward over the toes? Good. And you can also see it's a lot harder to balance that way. Now, the main movement that we'll talk about today is the sandbag lateral lunge, or lateral squat, and that will be holding it in front, in essentially like a front rack position. It's very common to have an athlete with mobility issues, whereas they can't quite get down low enough or as far to the side. So, yeah, go ahead and show from the side. This is something that could be a disadvantage as well as an advantage, because this movement shows that an athlete is lacking in a certain range of motion, and it's important to fix those faults. Another option is you can hold a medicine ball or a kettlebell in the front rack position. You can just show just one each way. So this is a fantastic movement for injury prevention as well as mobility of the hips and adductors. Some of the faults is it could be if an athlete's lacking range of motion, they won't be able to get quite down as low as we'd like to see, as well as the movement can't quite be loaded as heavily as some other movements. That's why I typically see slower eccentric portion as well as higher volume to get in those reps. Now, the second movement we'll go over today is the medicine ball drop squat. This is also a lower body auxiliary movement. Can also be considered a progression into plyometrics, as there is some ground force reactions. Now, the drop squat trains, again, the glutes, hamstrings, and quads, mainly focusing on really eccentrically loading the quads as the athlete descends into a squat position. So, to begin with, the athlete will need a medicine ball, nothing too heavy. This is 10 pounds here. They're going to start with the ball holding just under their chin in a athletic stance. No, relax. Feet are going to be just about shoulder width apart, toes again forward. So to initiate the movement, the athlete will pull their heels up off the ground, flexing the calves, and then drop into a squat position. Good. Go ahead and show a few more. Now, as the athlete drops down, they're eccentrically loading the quads. This is great for any sort of movement where an athlete needs to slow down, such as sprinting and changing direction. And it's also great for ACL prevention because the athlete's thinking about keeping the feet, or excuse me, the knees outside and in line with the toes. Let's go ahead and show you from the side. So up and drop. Good. Again, athlete is keeping hips pushed back in a nice balanced position. Essentially finishing in the bottom of any other squat that you'd see, whether it be a barbell or just body weight. Some of the other tools that can be used is a weight vest to also increase resistance in something that's more closer to the body instead of an outside source like a medicine ball or dumbbells or kettlebell, whatever you prefer to use. This is a great movement for ACL prep as well as eccentrically loading the quads and really hitting those stabilizer muscles to also increase the difficulty of the movement. You could choose to put an athlete on an unstable surface such as a soft mat or even a BOSU ball if they're really advanced. You can also think about doing unilateral work with single leg, dropping onto one leg in an athletic stance or like a running position such as this. The cons to this is that for young athletes it could be too challenging and not quite developed yet. Other than that, it's great. I think it would be perfect for rehab if an athlete is almost ready to be back on the field, just to keep the athlete's mind thinking about having a nice, strong, stable knee position. That's all we have for today. Thanks for tuning in. The question of the day is, are strength and conditioning coaches more than just making athletes bigger, stronger, and faster? And the answer to that question is yes. Strength and conditioning coaches are no longer that title. I like to call them performance coaches because they do so much more than just make athletes bigger, stronger, and faster. They have to balance an athlete's lives in and out of the weight room, and that includes on the field as well. Especially a youth athlete that's somewhere in middle school or high school ages, it's best that they don't specialize too early because there's a huge chance of burnout. That's the mental aspect of things. If they're always constantly year-round pushing to do one sport and focusing on training for one sport, then there's a greater chance that an athlete can burn out and will not be able to see their maximum potential. And that's only one aspect of it. Another aspect is social. At that young of an age, there's not really many kids that want to be just focusing on one sport or even multiple sports that matter. As a performance specialist, or a performance coach, it's really important that you understand what else is going on in your athletes' lives other than just getting bigger, stronger, and faster. So again, to answer your question, yes, strength and conditioning coaches are doing more than just building a performance athlete.